Hey friends, hope you're doing well. If you're watching this after weekend, I hope you had a good weekend. And if you watched movies and played video games instead of doing your homework, you probably shouldn't feel too bad. At least that's what the author of this book has to say. So the book I reviewed for you is Rethinking Social Studies and History Education: Social Education Through Alternative Texts by Cameron White. So his premise is that anything can be a text, and we should use anything at our disposal to have culturally relevant material and culturally relevant teaching. So this is what he says: media and popular culture should be used as alternative texts in education. These alternative texts provide an opportunity for the common understandings, dialogue, communication, cultural identity, motivation, and context connections. In addition, themes that need addressing tied to integrating media and popular culture in teaching and learning include information, transmission, etc., etc., etc. So his point is that, look, pop culture is part of students' lives. Movies and music and plays and books and advertisements and video games, those are all part of our students' lives, and we're not going to be able to take that away from them. He makes a point that we should, instead of running away from the things that we don't like in popular culture, we should embrace them and try to integrate them. There are some good points in this book. For example, he does provide websites for us to use. Let's see, how do I find in this? Okay, well, I'll get to that in a minute. But so I have a big problem with some of his ideas. So he thinks that it's a good idea to use pop culture to teach history. This is one example I'd really disagree with: social studies through sports movies. And his idea is that one of the best ways to teach civil rights and to teach the history of African Americans is to use sports movies, which I think kind of denigrates the actual accomplishments of minorities in this country. But he makes this point. A number of issues and themes can be addressed using sports movies. The obvious is to use film as a reflection. Here it is, a reflection of the times or about a particular time. Using sports films to explore 20th century America can be very powerful, as it truly reflects the growth and wealth of the country. Okay, I have a problem with that because you can use actual sources to do that, and sports movies are fake, and we want to teach our students to use sources to find truth. So I can see I can see how you could use this. You could integrate a sports movie and real texts, primary sources. You can compare the representation to the reality, and that way students can learn media literacy. However, that's not one of his suggestions. That's just mine. All right, and let's look at some of his other suggestions. So here is his section about video games. And so he says, school is unengaging for many students today. And he gives that reason as scores in social studies content areas such as U.S. history reveal merely teaching the content that will be on the test is not effective. Researchers suggest there may be a connection between students' lack of engagement, both with content learning, with a lack of enjoyment in learning. So his suggestion is that the best way for students to keep learning is to play video games. And sorry, I think you can hear the frustration in my voice, because the things he recommends are, for example, to teach Western expansion. You can play Oregon Trail. Here it is, Oregon Trail, which centers on overlapping choices and consequences. Deliberation in the decision-making process is probably the most important foundation of democratic citizenship. Okay, that's pretty intriguing. However, he does not provide any evidence in the book that he has researched this, and he basically shows that there is no research to back this up, at least that he's done. Um, so like I showed you with the K-pop examples, with Oregon Trail and the video games, with sports movies, he's really grasping at straws for how we should teach social studies and how we should teach history. My recommendation is that you don't read the book. I don't think it's very valuable. However, there are some resources that can be useful, and this is it's an okay repository for them. So he gives a couple ideas about teaching digital citizenship, which is part of our role of teaching democracy to our students. So he gives a lesson plan for that, although it takes 27 days, but I'm sure you can get some ideas that can be a little more useful. So the thing is, this book is interesting, has interesting concepts, but there's no research to back it up. So essentially what he's asking you as a teacher to do is take a chance, wing it, and see if you get better results. I'm not a fan of that method. I think using primary sources and teaching with real, authentic texts is going to be more valuable for our students. And frankly, I think we can teach digital citizenship in other ways. As long as we're fulfilling our partnership with the schools and the school districts to be partners in the community, that's a lot more valuable than playing video games, watching K-pop, and watching sports movies. If you're interested in any more of these alternative texts, I will show you once again the cover of the book, so you can find that in the library. Rethinking Social Studies and History Education by Cameron White. All right, thanks so much. You guys have a great day.